Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here with my next Avatar Funko Pop reviews. This one's going to be for Zuko and Iroh, the last of the main 7 Funko Pops that I have to review. So I'm going to review these two together here as a pair in this video. I just earlier on today did Sokka and Katara, and now we'll finish off with obviously uncle and nephew here. One of the most interesting pairs, I suppose, in Avatar in terms of like a character arc, so it's pretty nice that they came together. So, yeah, in terms of the box, nothing too much to say. We've got 538 and 539. Here is the, caricature version, the cartoon version of the Funko Pop designs, which look pretty nice. I'd like to see some, it'd be fun to see them do some sort of a little animation thing with them like this, but, who knows. There is again the back of the box. Here's the side with their names, and that's really all there is to say about this section. So we'll start off with Zuko here, and just open him up. So, again, he does come with one of these stands, of course, so we'll see how he if he can at all stand just out of the box. Zuko actually does stand fairly well. Like, it's a little precarious, but he does stand okay compared to some of the other ones. But, I think it is definitely worthwhile them having the stand. Yeah, so let's just put this on. Okay, and his stance is actually fairly wide, so his foot comes off it kind of no matter where you really place it. So I'll just put it on as much as possible there. And again, there is the slight issue of just, the feet, I think, in this case, are meant to be, like, perfectly flat. But I suppose just because of the plastic and the way it can be, it's just a little bit kind of out of position. And that's why I suppose there's kind of a need for the stand. But anyway, let's take an in-depth look at Zuko here. So, obviously, of the kind of main characters, he's probably the guy who has the most kind of going on just in terms of the face area because of the scar. In that, like Toph obviously had the different colored eyes because of her blindness, but here we actually have some kind of detail on the face itself. And it makes him sort of stand out a little bit compared to the other ones because he has kind of the actual different kind of color stuff on his face. And, it's a nice kind of cartoony way to get the scar effect across, that, he was burned across this eye. There's a lot of, it's very angry sort of around the eye itself, and then not as bad as you go out. So, that's an interesting take on it. I think it works. As for the hairstyle, of course, it's not the most ideal, I suppose, design that I think people would immediately go for in terms of like the Zuko that they want in a Funko Pop. But they get it across very well, and it makes this one actually stand out as being very unique because the hairstyle is actually so exaggerated, of just like straight out the top, this kind of pretty long kind of thing coming back here, the top knot. So very interesting for sure. Definitely. So yeah, good detail there on the face. And then the kind of Fire Nation armor that he's wearing is definitely another highlight of the figure here. Just really nicely detailed with the different colors, the little bits of yellow here and there. Even the sort of lilac-y kind of color that it has. It is a unique kind of color palette for sure that the Fire Nation armor has. There's the different sections on the back. It's a great way to just kind of look at the different sections of armor as you see them kind of here, kind of done in plastic. You have the pointy details on his kind of boots here as well, and it works really, really nicely. This, of course, is the standard Zuko. This is not the chase. So I think where I ordered it from, I had a chance to get the chase, because most places don't allow you to specifically like order online the chase version over the standard one. The chase one, of course, has the fire daggers, whereas this one just has the kind of standard fire blast. It's definitely an interesting one, and it's a very large effect part that comes all the way around. I definitely prefer the fire dagger one over this one, just because I do find it a little bit weird that the way they kind of attach it on here, like the fire, he's shooting it out here, but like it's starting all the way over here, and it's like attached to his hand here. It's a bit of a weird effect, in that I probably would have preferred it if they had found some way to just almost like attach a fire thing just to the end of his fist and have it just directly kind of extend out from his fist. But the way they kind of need to do this is obviously that they have to have like attachment points here, somewhere here, and all the way over here. So it's kind of attached to his forearm for some reason. I still think it works for sure. It's just it's maybe not the firebending technique you'd usually associate in terms of like, what did he do, some crazy like spin punch where like the trail of the fire ended up like around here, something like that. I don't think it's too much of a criticism. It just is a slight kind of like odd thing that it kind of comes around here. It's different to what in the Katara figure where it does the same thing, because it's more natural, I think, for waterbending in that we directly see Katara do a kind of pose where she's kind of holding water, you know, primarily on one side, but she can also strike from the other side if she needs to. So yeah, there's some good detail on this. Like, this is the one where like I was initially a bit disappointed that, oh, they're doing all book 1 designs, and especially the Zuko, I was kind of like, I might wait and see if they do a book 3. But then, like, as we started to really see more pictures of it, it really stands out as being, I think, one of the more kind of unique ones, just because of, you know, the way the armor's done, the uniqueness of the face, and in a way the uniqueness of the hairstyle as well. Like, we'll get another Zuko, I assume, at some point that will be him with his kind of standard hair, and in a way that one may not look as interesting on the character because it's going to be more of a standard hairstyle. But it'll be interesting to see how it works in terms of, like, obviously the hair then coming around will sort of cut off some of the scar, but, you know, it'll still be roughly the same as this. You sort of wonder if they do more Zuko's, will they change up the scar a little bit, or will they always keep it with this exact design? But there's Zuko, and we'll move on to Iroh. So, we'll open up Iroh now. Okay, so here is Iroh. He also comes with the stand. And he does just about stand up. Like the Sokka, actually, he's a bit back heavy in that he just, yeah, one slight nudge and he goes straight back. So he definitely is back heavy, I think partly because of the hair and how much it comes down. But you can see here, there's the peg hole, and yeah, that just goes straight on there. And yeah, there is Iroh. His head does move a little bit. I don't think I covered that. Zuko does turn, yeah, so you can have him kind of looking out in the direction of his punch, straight out, or have him kind of off to the side. I think it actually works quite well, the different poses you can do with the head with Zuko. So yeah, Iroh. I think this is going to end up being one of the most popular ones from this first wave, because I think if you like Funko Pops and you like Avatar, you'll probably end up trying to get all of them or as many of them as possible. But I think a lot of fans, even if you don't like the Funko Pop aesthetic, will probably still get an Iroh just to have an Iroh on your desk somewhere, because I think they got the pose and everything about this one spot on. He's not in an action pose, it's just, you know, wise Uncle Iroh with his tea. And I think that's really, really cool that they kind of did it that way. And it's really appealing because it just, they get all the details right. So there's a bit more going on with his face as well, because he's an older character. So, you know, they put in the nice paint details here to get across the sort of wrinkles in a way. The grey kind of white, you know, hair. In a way, they do also the sort of bags under his eyes in a little bit here and stuff like that. So really nice detail here, and the beard done in the different sections. It's really nicely detailed. The top knot there. So very, very cool early Uncle Iroh. And then his kind of version of the Fire Nation armor, he doesn't have as much of it on as Zuko, but, you know, just across the, you know, shoulders and chest there. You can see a little bit of it there on the back. And again, just the nice, you know, different colors that they have of the kind of browns with the sort of lilacs and the, you know, almost like pinkish kind of like color scheme that they have. I think on Azula, that figure, the colors also kind of really stand out. And then on his shoes, you can also see the kind of pointy bits, the kind of turned up bits here as well. That's very interesting. So yeah, I think he really stands out. His head moves a bit as well, so you can have him, you know, standing just slightly looking to the sides, or directly head on. I think it actually works actually with the slight angle to it as well. But yeah, really nice. I'm actually really impressed with this one. I think, as I said, a lot of people are going to get this guy if they see him, just to have there and always refer to in a way for remember some of those words of wisdom from Iroh. And you know, they work really well together. You know, here, you know, power and firebending comes from the breath, and you know, early scenes like that that you remember between them, and they work, I think, really nicely together. So yeah, and then we'll just end up with some comparison. We'll bring in all the other characters that we have here. So we'll bring, obviously it's book 1, so Aang, you know, Zuko's enemy here, the guy he's hunting, Aang, with Momo. We'll bring him in. Iroh's over here, of course. Aang is obviously joined by Sokka and Katara. It's getting a bit packed in here, actually. So yeah, there's so many of these, I don't know if we'll be able to fit them properly on screen. So I'll just put Appa in the back here, so you can sort of see him. And Toph obviously appears later on. I don't think she ever sees Zuko as he looks like this, so that's an interesting one. She appears later on, and she meets Iroh. But you get a sense of, like, you know, this is the team. I'll kind of pull back a bit here to give you guys a look. It's really cool just to have them all together, the kind of team coming together here. But of course, for this video, our focus is on these two for sure. And I think they're both very good. As I said, I think a lot of people might wait on the Zuko until they do like a book 3 Zuko, more than likely, or a Fire Lord Zuko from the end of the series going into the comics. And I assume they will do one of them, just because I think Katara and Zuko are probably the main two in terms of, like, yeah, I think most people will maybe want to see them in their later designs rather than their early designs. But these are both excellent takes on early Zuko and Katara. So that's pretty good. And yeah, they just all work really well together. Looking at them here, it's nice to have this kind of whole group of them together. And then obviously once I get Azula, and that will go along with my exclusive Aang here, then we'll have them all. So there's a rough look at all of them that I have so far anyway. I definitely think Appa is probably the weakest of the group, just because he definitely needed to be a bigger Funko Pop, in that, like, the front section looks okay, but the back section doesn't look all that great. And then other than that, apart from some minor, you know, like, I maybe would have led with maybe some of the more popular designs for the characters early on, but if they're going to go in depth and make more of these and do multiple character designs, that's great. In terms of obvious characters that they need to do next, I assume they'll need to do an Ozai at some point, for sure. Mei is a character they need to do. Ty Lee, Suki. I assume they'd also want to do Roku, more than likely. And then if you're going to do Roku, would they do Kuruk and Yang Chen? Potentially. And then, of course, there's always, you know, Book 3 Zuko, Book 3 Katara, you know, Day of Black Sun, you know, Aang in his kind of later design as well. Warrior Sokka, Toph in her kind of battle armor from Day of Black Sun, all that sort of stuff. Even Appa, you know, they could do him in his armor from the Day of Black Sun if they wanted to. And then there's still loads of other characters that they could do. Would they do a Zhao? That might be a little too obscure early on to do. But, you know, characters like that are definitely ones that they should more than likely do at some point. It'll be interesting to see what, like, minor characters they go into, in that I assume a Cabbage Merchant at some point might be like an exclusive, whether it be a convention exclusive or just like GameStop or whatever. That seems like a very likely more jokey character to do. But beyond that, you know, very impressed with this kind of first wave of Funko Pops, and as I said, my Azula is on the way, and I will review her as soon as she arrives, and it will have the complete set, minus of course the Chase Zuko and the Chase exclusive Aang. But you know, I don't really mind too much, especially the Chase version of this, where it's just glow in the dark, kind of almost Avatar state version of this guy. I don't mind not having that. And the other version of Zuko, you know, maybe when I properly start to see these in stores here and not have to order them online, I might be able to see the Chase and grab it. And, you know, if I can get it for a decent price, I might get the Chase, but I'm not too concerned. I have the Book 1 Zuko. I don't necessarily feel I need to get the one that just has the slightly different pose with the fire daggers, as nice as that one is. So yeah, that's my thoughts on mainly the Iroh and Zuko Funko Pop, but let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on these two, as well as the entire wave of Avatar Funko Pops that's been released so far. What are your thoughts on them? But that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.